Today we're doing a review of the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack, or should I say the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack modular system. This is the first bag from a respected apparel company, and in this video we're gonna break the bag down. I'm gonna take my experience of reviewing 500 plus of the world's best bags, and we're gonna pack this thing out, talk about the pros and cons, and if you're not sure this is the bag for you, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of the video, where I'll make some alternative bag suggestions that might better suit your needs. Let's jump into the gist of the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack. Because like I said, if you don't know, Unbound Merino is one of the best travel apparel companies ever. We love them, and we actually work very closely with Unbound Merino here at Nomads Nation. We should talk about that, right? They sponsor a lot of videos for us, but this is an unsponsored review. And although I'm quite crazy about the Unbound Merino hoodie and their pants, especially for travel, that's not gonna taint my review. This is going to be honest, because there's some things I really do love about this bag, but there's a couple things that drive me crazy about it as well. Let's talk about its top features. The travel backpack itself has a beautiful, sleek silhouette, dual external pockets on the side. Got a half zipper opening into the main compartment. Quick access pocket at the top. But then here's where things get interesting with the included sling/tech pouch, which is hard shell, has a bunch of internal organization, and it can convert via the strap into a sling or magnetically to the inside of the travel day pack, like so. Wait for it. Wait. Could you hear that? Can you hear that, Marker? No? It's a lot more satisfying in person, I promise. As of recording, the Ultralight Travel Backpack comes in one color option. And let's talk about its size, because I'm not gonna lie, this is a really interesting debut bag. As for where they're calling it a travel backpack, but typically that name is reserved for larger travel bags. So it's advertised at 15 liters. Let's test that out. You can see we have just the main compartment filled out. So we only filled out the main compartment, and you can see 5, 10, 15, yeah, we're just under 15 liters capacity, which is ideal for it being like a travel day pack size, which is the whole gist of this thing. Like, it's advertised to pack flat into your carry-on and then be your day bag when you get to a new destination, and then it sort of sprinkles some interestingness in regards to that tech pouch and sling. We'll get there in a second. We got a height of around 19 inches and a width of 11 inches. Which I think is a contributing factor to why this bag looks quite sexy. It should be noted, 19 inches for a 15-liter backpack. It's a very tall bag, and it's giving it that very slim silhouette, which will be really important to a lot of people because it kind of adds a little extra sexification to it. Now, the bag is called the Ultralight Travel Pack, and it feels very light. Let's double check this weight. Yeah, not too bad, coming in at 1.3 pounds. This is the travel backpack when it's empty, and here's the backpack worn on the Nomads Nation team. For reference, I'm 5'8", and our media manager, Margaret, is 5'2". And don't worry, we're gonna pack out the bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. And for all that, these come together as a system for $198 US. And if at any point during this review you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, that is the slim, sexy travel modular ecosystem of my dreams, and you're thinking about picking one up, we highly suggest doing so with the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes, especially for Unbound Merino. But that link also helps support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel and team, so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about the front of the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack. First up with the front is gonna be just this really sexified silhouette. I have to admit, I'm actually really impressed with Unbound Merino did here, because the travel world for backpacks is really saturated. And it's hard to come out with like a unique identity, especially for your first bag. And Unbound did a really nice job with this, as to where they have these seams going up on both sides of the bag, a little diagonally, but no seam at the top. It just looks a little cash, a little profesh. Like, it's definitely not a perfect travel backpack for me, but I can still like the aesthetic. It just, in my opinion, it knocked it out of the park. And one thing contributing to that is another thing that I think Unbound did a great job with, which is material selection, which makes sense, right? I mean, like, Unbound, they know their fabrics. They're a clothing company. And this is a 210D ballistic nylon. Well, I've seen nylon and ballistic nylon done on backpacks a million times. It's a super safe choice because it's so abrasion resistant, it's got a great look to it, and it's got a bit of weather resistance as well, as this actual fabric has PU coating on the back of it. But 210 you don't really see very often. In fact, I can't think of any other bags that I know that use it, and 210 just means it's super thin, right? You have like a company like Aer that uses 1680D ballistic nylon, and that is thick. And I don't like that as much because it gives more weight, it makes the bag bulky. This has a nice malleability to it while still giving you all the protection of nylon. So I really like that. Bottom of the front, we have some external lash points here. This is for connecting things to externally on your bag. You can clip a carabiner on there if you want. And the fact that it is covered with this flap means it's out of sight, out of mind, kind of just adding to that really nice aesthetic. But I'm curious, like, do you agree with me that this aesthetic of this bag is just killing it? Could they have done better? Let me know what you think about the looks of this bag in the comments below. All right, this bag's pretty simple. Front's done. Middle, though, is gonna be a lot chunkier of a section, so strap in. Let's go ahead and jump into it and talk about the middle of the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack. Starting with these side pockets, which are okay. And the reason they're okay is they're there. I'd rather them there than not, but also pros and cons. Let's run through them. Pro is like they're there, and you can throw things in these pockets. Just to give you an idea, here's my iPhone 13, and it can squeeze in one of these side pockets. Another pro too is we have zippers right here. Unfortunately, PU coated zippers, I don't think that was necessary. They should have just made regular zippers. But you can go ahead and unzip this, and this gives the pocket a bit of elasticity to help it open. And this is a really nice Darlington mesh. It just has a nice stretch to it. Overall, pretty nice implementation, but they're definitely tighter pockets. So this is not gonna be like the water bottle holder of your dreams, but it will sort of work. You can see my 24-ounce Columbia. This slides in pretty well when the bag is empty, but the real test is when the bag is full. So I'm gonna throw this bad boy and the umbrella on the side so we can double check it once we fill out the main compartment. But one other crappy thing about these side pockets, AKA water bottle holders, is they limit the opening to the main compartment. This is not a clamshell style, you just got like a half panel opener, right? Which is not the end of the world for a 15-liter bag. You know, it's not a big ass 40-liter travel bag where you gotta get to the bottom of, where for me, like, clamshell is a must-have. But for some people, you want clamshell on your little bags, your big bags, and everything in between. So it might be a deal breaker for some people. Also, these zippers are YKK, so you're getting the cream of the crop there. And I quite like these Hypalon zipper pulls. Got a little bit of grip to them as well. Overall, some really nice material selections across the board, which is important at the 198 USD price point. It's, you know, it's not cheap for what you're getting. I get that. I don't think it's quite overpriced. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail soon, but let's talk about the main compartment. So here you can see we have a top mesh pocket, a smaller lining drop pocket, nothing at the bottom. You got another lining pocket here, little Hypalon, maybe pen sleeve, is that what you want? And the tech area, and finally, the magnets for the companion piece, which let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Because this is where this video is gonna really like split. Where either you're gonna be like me and you're not gonna be crazy about this, or you're gonna be like, dude, this is the modular ecosystems. They're very prescriptive in some ways, as to where these things come together. You're paying $200 US for them, and you're getting a pretty dope bag, like a really dope bag actually. And then in my opinion, like a decent tech pouch, but not a great sling. But that's what it's trying to sell you, is this like 3-in-1 system. And all you're really getting for this system is the ability to snap it into place magnetically. This right here. But aside from that, there's not a lot that this system can do that a regular day pack and a sling that can convert into a tech pouch can't do. And some people just love that satisfaction, knowing that these two pieces are meant to go together, and that connection, and you just be able to do that, like that means a lot to some people. For me though, I think it can be a little restrictive as to where like, there are better tech pouches than this, and maybe better slings than this. And I don't know if the ability of them to connect like that is worth those compromises. I'm getting really like existential right now. But at the end of the day, you know, modular ecosystems are not for everybody. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Like, do you think that magnetic connection is really important? Are there things about the relationship between these two bags that are even more important to you? Let me know your thoughts on the whole like system in the comments below. And let's talk about this guy. It's really interesting. I think it's a great tech pouch. Unlike the bag, like I said, it's got some padding to it. We got a top handle, back pocket here, and then the main compartment. Both of these zippers are PU coated, YKK. And then you can see we got this clamshell style tech compartment, right? Tech pouch, not tech compartment. Final answer. And this is where all the magic happens, as to where like you're using this on your flight, right? Either you're pairing it with a suitcase goes over top, this bag is going underneath the seat in front of you with your sweater, maybe some books, yada yada. And then you're in your seat, you unclip this and you grab your tech gear. And then when you get to your destination, you take these two Fidlock female pieces, you slide on the shoulder strap, and it can convert into a very interesting vertical sling. So for me, this is gonna be a much better tech pouch than it is going to be a sling, for sure. But it can do all the above. All right, let me show you how I would pack this bag out. All right, I just threw a bunch of my travel stuff right here. It's not pretty, guys, but you know, the show must go on. For me, the tech pouch is carrying probably all my tech stuff and things that I want the fastest access to, because I'll be carrying it on my lap, maybe even actually wearing it around me when I'm on my flight. So that's why we're gonna do portable charger, book in the back sleeve. This sleeve is also large enough for an 11-inch tablet. And I quite like the material being used there, this lining. It's really nice, almost wool-esque, which makes sense because Unbound Merino makes merino wool. So that slaps. I'm gonna do AirPods in here, wallet in there. Gotta have a protein bar on a flight, and some meds in case I get a headache, gum right there, and you know, that's me ready to fly. And then in the main compartment of the day pack, which should be noted, like, can compress really far down. Like this, you can pop it in your suitcase, just fly with this guy. One recurring theme in this review that you'll see is like, I love this bag. I'm just not quite as sold on this bag. But for me, I'm gonna throw packable tote at the top. I got my 13-inch MacBook Pro, which will go in the tech compartment, which doesn't have a false bottom. It has some padding down there though, so it doesn't feel like it's gonna break if you drop your bag right away. Let's see if it can fit a larger laptop. This is a cutout of a 16-inch MacBook Pro. And again, the same lining that's used inside this guy is being used here. Freaking love that. I'm gonna do a notebook here. This pocket is just a lining pocket. It runs deep, thank God, so I can use it for maybe an umbrella, tripod. But here's where it gets weird. Like, I gotta see sort of how this guy fits in here. I'm also gonna go ahead and take the shoulder strap off, put that in the bag, and now, in theory, we should just get a nice, perfect, wait for it. Also, these fidlock magnets, you gotta find a way to perfectly line them up. Okay, I'm in. Nice, that's what we got going on. Maybe you can throw an Unbound Merino hoodie on top. Not really. So keep it in mind, when you have the tech pouch actually inside the bag, it's gonna take up 70% of the capacity in that main compartment. Side pocket check. 24-ounce Columbia. We're sliding in, but not super secure. You can see with the upside down test, you know, it's okay. Actually, it's not doing too bad. A lot of that is because of how packed the bag actually is. And there's not gonna be anywhere to clip on like a carabiner to secure your water bottle, which is fine for me. I never do that, but I know a lot of people that's really important too. Umbrella on the other side. Hell yeah, it's a good looking bag. That is faux show. And I gotta let you know, in case you're really enjoying this really nerdy and slightly philosophical breakdown of travel gear, and you also like everyday carry gear, then you might be happy to find out that here at Nomads Nation, we don't just do reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. So if you wanna keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in this incredible industry, and I'm talking like newest releases, industry gossip, trends, limited edition drops, exclusive giveaways, and everything in between, then you're gonna wanna sign up to the Nomads Nation newsletter, which you can do by finding this globe emoji in the description below. I hope to see you in your inbox. All right, let's talk about the back of the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack. Probably should have talked about this in the middle section, but we do have a top handle, and I like this top handle. It's really well designed, it's clean, it uses the 210D nylon, and you got a nice amount of space to actually put your hand in. This top handle works. Behind it, we have quick access top pocket. It's just their microfiber, soft lining material. I love it. It is an ideal spot for your glasses, but it does run a little deep. So for instance, glasses are about yay deep right now. So with the laptop on this side and your back on that side, keep the glasses, like just keep an eye on them because they might get a little smushed. Now, let's kind of tie it all together. Like, I really think this is a great suitcase companion, right? You're flying to, let's say, Japan for the weekend, because I'm going to Japan in like 3 weeks and I cannot wait. Suitcase goes in the carry bin overhead, and then you slide this bad boy on at the airport. Oh God, and you are rocking and rolling. Now here's the problem. I do wish that this bag stood upright. As you can see, the luggage pass-through holder is forcing you to carry it on its side, which isn't bad, it's just not the most efficient setup. The luggage pass-through holder itself is loose, which I like because I don't like it too tight, but it's a little bit looser than I prefer. Just nitpicking here, it's really hard to get that perfect like middle ground between not too loose, not too tight. But overall, certainly works well with luggage. Basically compared to all other compressible day bags like the Refraction Matador, the Waterfield one, Boundary Supply, Wandered, Nomadic. The only one I'd say is more comfortable than this one is probably the Aer Go Pack 2, which is like iconic in my opinion. It's probably the best compressible backpack. And if you want to watch our full review on the best packable bags, we'll go ahead and link that above. But yeah, these shoulder straps, we got like 2+ inches of width, which is perfect in my opinion. But the problem is gonna be just in this depth as to where these guys are very, very thin. You can see, oh my God, it's very thin. We're dealing with like 0.5 centimeter, 5 millimeters. If you're American, I just say it's very, very thin. And that's either a good thing or a bad thing, because sometimes, like let's say with the Aer Go Pack 2, which is the antithesis to this in terms of they have this really beefy shoulder straps, it's harder to pack that down. And it's just a lot more like padding and fabric on your shoulders, and on hot days, that can kind of suck. But at the end of the day, for a 15-liter day pack, it gets the job done. Ooh, I forgot about this pocket. Love this guy. Hidden back pocket. There's only one. This is actually really well designed. As to where it's got some height on it, we're looking at 8 inches. That's perfect. And then it's not too tight. It's got the ability to open up, get your wallet in there, or your passport, or your boarding pass. And then it's secure, and you got quick access at your new destination to grab it whenever you need. Back panel material is this same like woolly fabric. Got a little bit of padding on there. Ultimately, for a day bag, it's not gonna scrunch up into a little ball. So it's got more structure, it's got more padding, it's got more oomph to it than that. But it's also still light and malleable in its own way. I think it's a really nice middle ground. Overall, making it a very comfortable wear. Guys, keep in mind, it's a 15-liter bag. It's not a 50-liter bag. Give it, all things considered, a 3.75 on the comfort scale. But one thing to know about comfort, it varies like drastically from person to person. So if you want to hear anybody else's experience with this bag and their opinions on the comfort of the bag, we got one of the biggest gearhead communities on the web. So if you ask, in the comments or in that subreddit, you should get an answer pretty quick. All right, let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Unbound Merino Ultralight Travel Backpack. Pro number 1 is the sleek aesthetic of the backpack itself. Pro number 2 is gonna be the water bottle holders on either side. They're actually kind of a rarity when it comes to day bags and compressible bags. And pro number 3 for some people is gonna be the awesomeness of that modular connective ecosystem. But on the flip side, every bag has cons. And for me, con number 1 is also pro number 3. It's just gonna depend on the person. Not everyone's gonna dig that connective modular ecosystem. I really do wish that these were sold separately. I really, really do. Con number 2, for some people, the shoulder straps might not be padded enough. And con number 3 is, while I do like this part of the bag as a tech pouch, it's not my favorite sling. But if you're still watching this, there's a good chance that you've weighed all the pros and all the cons and you're just totally digging this thing. And you're like, dude, I'm picking one up. That thing's awesome. Well, just a reminder, if that's the case, we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description. That just makes sure that you get the best price. And if we have any discount codes, which we often have for Unbound Merino, that's what they'll be. But if you're not quite sold, let's talk about some alternative bags that might better suit your needs. First up, if you're new to the channel, I highly suggest watching the Nomads Nation leaderboard video. It's where myself and the entire Nomads Nation squad, we get together and let you know our favorite bags in different bag categories. It's a great introduction to the channel and to see what the best options are on the market. I'm going ahead and link that above. But if we're pretty close with the Unbound Ultralight, here's 2 suggestions that are gonna get you a little closer. Number 1 is gonna be the Aer Go Pack 2. I brought it up multiple times. It's a great alternative if you're looking for a compressible day pack for when you get to your travel destination, but you want a bit more padding on the shoulder straps. And just kind of seen it done a little bit differently. The Aer Go Pack 2, like I said, is pretty iconic. And it's really versatile. You can use it in a bunch of scenarios. And my second alternative recommendation is gonna be the Waterfield packable backpack. This is a great pick for you if you're drawn to the Unbound Merino for just how professional it looks, right? And it's actually really rare to find like a really sleek, professional day bag for travels. That's what Waterfield knocks out of the park with this bag. Honestly, all 3 bags are great. They all have their unique set of pros and cons. You just gotta figure out, which one you're most interested in. And to learn more about the 2 alternatives, you can just go ahead and watch these videos here. If you got any questions about any bags, be sure to let me know in the comments below or in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.